Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explained here, bringing you guys a review for Boruto Chapter 47. And for the anime-only fans, obviously this is the time of the month where I'm gonna have some spoiler content, so I thank you for your support. All that being said, if you're still here, I'm gonna assume you're okay with me talking about spoilers. So I just gotta keep it real with you, right? When I woke up this morning, I knew about the Kashin Koji being a Jiraiya clone spoilers. I knew that, and so I knew going into this chapter that this was going to be the case, and I gotta say I feel vindicated. I feel vindicated right now, man, because I got so much crap, and I know Adil's got it over there on Anime Ball Steve. We did a video on his channel talking about Kashin Koji being Jiraiya. I did videos on Kryptonian Saiyan saying it. I did videos on this channel specifically saying that Kashin Koji was going to be a cyborg clone of Jiraiya, and lo and behold, that's exactly what we get. That's exactly what we get here, and this really felt like the Tobi end up being Obito reveal, where people, if you go back, you look at the forums, nobody believed that Tobi was Obito. Well, it's the same thing here. A lot of people are saying it can't be Jiraiya, and lo and behold, the obvious answer is what actually happened. So I gotta say, I love this idea because, again, he's a clone, so he's not actually the Jiraiya who passed away. That Jiraiya is dead. That Jiraiya is never coming back. That one is dead. However, this does, and I love the tension that Kodachi is writing in this. I love the tension you're gonna have with Naruto and Amado, because when you go back to Jiraiya's death, one of the things that Naruto just ripped into Tsunade about was the fact that Tsunade sent Jiraiya to his death knowing that he was gonna go take an S-rank mission where chances are he was not going to be able to survive, and Naruto said the third Hokage wouldn't have sent him out on a mission like that by himself. So now we have Naruto 16 years later looking as he's essentially watched the final moments of Jiraiya all over again, only this time he doesn't have to hear about it. He watched it with his own eyes. That is heartbreaking. That is heartbreaking. How you have that moment in the chapter where Naruto's saying, I just can't shake the feeling, I'm concerned about the guy, and you have this moment where Sasuke is looking over at Naruto, and you know that Sasuke has already put the pieces together, because like Sasuke said in this chapter, Naruto after all these years is still a dunce. He hasn't necessarily picked up on everything. So I like the fact that it's implying that Sasuke knows, and Sasuke's probably going to say that guy was Jiraiya, wasn't he? So that's going to be interesting to see that, and to see how Naruto's reaction is going to be after the fact. That's going to be very interesting, because I don't see Naruto standing by idly to watch Kashin Koji die, even if he is a clone of Jiraiya. So I thought that that was beautiful storytelling. I thought that was very beautiful. I know some people are going to say I don't like the fact that they dragged Jiraiya back for this, but again, it's a clone, so it's not actually him, and you look at how they're using it to set up tension. I thought that that was really good. Now, on the other hand, though, I got to talk about all the big revelations that we got in this chapter. So, you know, one of the things that we end up finding out is that when it comes to Isshiki's ability, he's able to shrink all inorganic objects, and when it comes to things like fire, he can shrink fire, but when it comes to fire that's based in chakra, he can absorb that, but when it comes to just regular flames, he can't actually do it. That's something that Kawaki said, if I'm not mistaken, in Boruto chapter 43 or chapter 44, so that's something that we did know, and I thought it was a little annoying how Boruto's like, you know, he's gonna be able to absorb it with the karma, right? Like Kawaki clearly broke that down, and like the Boro fight wasn't that long ago, so that was something that kind of got on my nerves a little bit, but I understand why they have to kind of use Boruto as a way to just let the audience know what's going on, because you're gonna have people that forgot that because this series is monthly. So I understand the reasoning for it, but what I like about this is how, you know, Amado says, well, he can shrink himself. That's the only organic object that he can actually shrink, but when it comes to just different abilities, he can shrink things and then he can enlarge them as long as they're not alive. And even Shikamaru was able to realize how that's essentially a troublesome ability, because you could be walking into a trap and not even realize he has those chakra rods just buried all in the ground, and you could be impaled at any moment. And so I like that you see that, but I also like how, you know, Amado in a very calculated manner is just breaking everything down, and he says like, look, you know, this is just the first step towards killing an Otsutsuki, and boy do we get a plot twist when it comes to that. I'm thinking, oh, they're gonna be needing to use nature energy, that's gonna be a key in order to take down Otsutsuki, and Amado's like, nah, you thinking big brain, but you ain't thinking big brain enough. And so the true way to kill an Otsutsuki is basically Amado has figured out the clan law, much in the same way that Orochimaru was able to to figure out what was on the Uchiha clan stone tablet. I like that, you know, you have something right there where it's showing Amado's brilliance, where he's like, look, you know, with the Otsutsuki, they can place multiple karma seals on a bunch of people, but the moment that they reincarnate into somebody else, all the other seals vanish. And that's the one time you can kill an Otsutsuki, when you kill them before they're able to create another vessel. So that's interesting. He didn't say before they kill another vessel, but it's very strongly implied. So that's interesting right there. That is very interesting that you have an out like that. That gives you a sincere way to take them down. So I thought that that was interesting right there. And what I like about this moment right here is that, you know, you get this moment where you see Jigen's body just cracking, and it's because he can't actually contain all the power of Isshiki, and Isshiki says that Jigen's body has reached its limits. It's not going to last so much longer. I'm beginning to reach the dress of his remaining chakra. And so now you see, okay, like Kashin Koji was able to push him this far, and it's because of the prep time. Kashin Koji basically turned into Batman at this point. So I like that you get this moment right here, and Amado says, like, you know, you have to understand why he's beginning to crack and why all of a sudden he's being enveloped by these flames, because before he was just shrinking the flames that Kashin Koji summoned from the eternally burning flaming mountains. But now you have this moment where all of a sudden he can't keep shrinking the flames, and you get this moment where Amado says he's still severely damaged from the battle he had against Yuto, which is a huge testament to how well Naruto and Sasuke did against Isshiki in that battle. While Isshiki completely dominated him, and while he did go overboard, don't get me wrong, he went overboard and his body was cracking down. Whether or not you want to say Naruto and Sasuke were able to push him, or if you just want to say that Isshiki just jumped the gun and used too much chakra like Amado was trying to say, regardless, I think it's a testament to them, the fact that they're able to even stand up against them. Even though they got mollywopped, they're able to withstand that beating and survive. That in itself says a lot about their durability. So I like the fact that Amado says, like, this was the ideal time to take him down. And so you also get this moment where, you know, Kashin Koji's just sitting there, and right there, knowing the spoiler, as I'm watching how Kashin Koji's sitting, I'm like, okay, that's like a Jiraiya. That's Jiraiya right there. I can see it. I've been saying it, well, no, 2 years now. So I thought that that was cool, but I also like how you get this moment where Sasuke, he looks at Naruto and says, you haven't been paying attention. You're watching the same feed I am, but you're still a dunce. You're asking, is this how you kill an Otsutsuki? And Naruto's like, that could be severely anticlimactic. And so basically you get this moment where Shikamaru, you can tell Shikamaru's starting to piece it together too. Sasuke says, you're not listening. Basically, Jigen has the karma. As long as Isshiki has karma on somebody, the Otsutsuki, they cannot die. They're just gonna keep reincarnating. And you have this moment where Sasuke, he's looking at Amado at the corner of his eye, and he says, currently you have Jigen and you have Kawaki that are Ishiki's vessels. And basically because of this, he can come back to life more than once. And he tells Amado, tell me that's true. And if that's the case, you're basically saying that basically you're gonna tell us how to take him down. But I wonder if this is the case and what you're saying is true, doesn't that mean that Isshiki, because Jigen's body is not suitable, that Isshiki can just skip to just reincarnate inside of Kawaki? And also you get this moment where, you know, Sasuke says, like, you know, you said that Jigen's body is not perfect, but you've also said that Kawaki's body is ready to be the vessel in terms of it has the potential to actually contain it. And so by taking Jigen out, that leaves Kawaki as the sole remaining vessel. You said we can't allow that to happen. Now, you have this moment where Amado says, like, Kawaki's body is transitioning, but it's not ready yet. But I like how Sasuke's immediately just showing, like, Sasuke's like, look, I know you're telling us a lot of information, but I still don't trust you. Sasuke's that dude that's continually trying to poke holes in your story just to see if it holds up. He might actually believe in what you're saying, but he's not gonna believe it until he's looked at every possible angle. So I like what you see there. I really like what you see there. And I like how after Sasuke says we could be playing into Isshiki's hands, and Shikamaru's starting to get really pissed off. You gotta remember, Shikamaru's son has a bomb around his neck, so Shikamaru ain't playing games either. But you get this moment where Kawaki just rushes in and he begins to attack Amado, and Sasuke just whips his sword out very casually, and as Kawaki's arm transforms, Sasuke just slices that thing, and you have the splinters just flying all over the place, and Kawaki, he's screaming out in pain, but Sasuke does it very casually. So I like that little badass moment that you have there with Sasuke. The only thing thing that I would say that I would like to see when it comes to just the artwork here is, again, I would have liked to actually seen that scene slow down just a little bit, so we see Sasuke with the full follow through as he's drawing his sword. That way you're actually building up towards the slicing. Like, I think that, you know, Ikimoto's shown us in the past he can do that, so I thought that this was a missed opportunity here, but you know, it is what it is. Like, the moment still kind of plays with itself. I'm really glad he didn't use the same squares and rectangles that he normally does. If you look at the panels on his page, he actually played with the way the panels were presented, so you gotta take your wins where you can get them. So I like that scene right there, and I like how, you know, Amado, as he's looking at Kawaki, says, I'm glad that you're here. There's something that I want to confirm for myself. And he says, I don't want you making any accusations. You know, don't look at me and say, what am I plotting? You know, this isn't a very complicated thing. Just allow me to finish explaining. And so you got Shikamaru, where I didn't like that line where Shikamaru says, be nice and simple about it so we can understand. Shikamaru and Sasuke are smart enough to be able to follow what Amado's saying. This is more so for Naruto, because even though Naruto has grown a lot, Naruto, like Sasuke said, is still a blumbering idiot. And so I like how as the flames are just burning around Jigen, you see a bit of symbolism here where, and this is a nice touch by Kodachi, but the symbolism is how flames are usually used when it comes to rebirth. Flames are also associated with the phoenix. Jigen is essentially, his body is dying and Isshiki is being reborn in the process. And so you get this moment where Amado says there's a few things that Isshiki can't actually stop. For as powerful he is, he still has to follow the same clan law. So basically, Amado says that when Otsutsuki dies, to transfer into a vessel, it begins automatically. And so even Isshiki himself can't control it. That's the strict karma rule. And so because Jigen and Kawaki are both vessels of Isshiki, that does mean that he can reincarnate twice. However, Jigen's karma has had enough time to have finished the complete extraction, and so Jigen is ready to be the full vessel of Isshiki, even though his body isn't suitable for it. And he says Kawaki's body has not finished the process of full extraction, and he says just like how Boruto is being used for Momoshiki, Isshiki has a vessel as well. But see, the progress for Boruto is not going to be done for some time, just like it wasn't done for a long time for Kawaki. And so in short, he can't be used as the vessel yet. And so you get this moment where, you know, Amado's building up towards his theory, but Shikamaru cuts him off and he says, well, if you're saying he won't be able to come back for a while, that means that Kawaki can still be used as a vessel later on down the line. And so you get to this moment where Boruto says, wait a second, I figured it out. So you're saying we gotta kill Kawaki, and you get this moment where Kawaki just looks absolutely heartbroken, and you see Naruto as Naruto's rage begins to build. And as I like how you got the very slow transition to Naruto turning his head to all of a sudden Naruto's got a very serious look on his face, and he says, I'm not gonna allow something like that to happen. You have Sasuke looking, and Sasuke's mulling over the situation, and you get this moment where Amado says, that's going to be an option, but that might not be the only option for now. We just need to look at the actual feed of what's going on. And he says, watch very closely, because you're gonna see Isshiki Otsutsuki in his true form. And so you get Kashin Koji, and Kashin Koji's looking down at everything, and you get this moment where I really feel like this is the moment Kashin Koji knew he was dying. I really feel like this is the moment, because the way that he's drawn, and just the way that you have the added emphasis on his shadow behind that, I really feel like this was an artistic way of just showing that like death is approaching for him. So I thought that was nice right there. And I like how you get this moment where Naruto, he's still trying to figure it out, and he's like, I thought that his vessel Jigen was already dead. You said that he was a monk back from Kaguya's time. How is it that he's able to resurrect himself? And so we find out a little bit more about how the karma activates. So essentially Amado says that yes, Jigen did die, medically that is. However, he did not die as an Otsutsuki vessel. It doesn't matter if it's a corpse that's burnt to a crisp, as long as that body has the karma on it, it can function to be a vessel for reincarnation. So that's scary. That's scary, because that means even a dead body can be used as a karma. So that's interesting. You have that little loophole right there. That's interesting. I don't think any of us saw that coming. So I thought that that was interesting right there. And I also like how you see Kawaki's karma begin to start resonating. You see the chakra aura flaring up. You see Kawaki, he's screaming in pain. You see the karma spreading, and you get this moment where Amado's looking, and he says, says like, Boruto, shut up for a second. I'm seeing this for the first time myself. And so Sasuke's figured it out as well. Sasuke grabs Boruto and says, calm down for a second. Kawaki in absolute pain, and just as a side note, like the stance that Kawaki took and the way that he's flaring up and everything with the ore, you know, that's a scene from Dragon Ball being paid homage. I talked about a lot of times how Ikimoto, when he draws the manga, when he's doing the manga and everything, he goes more so to the Dragon Ball panels for inspiration. That's something, if you read the Dragon Ball manga, you know what scene I'm referring to on here. But I like how you get that moment there, and I also like how you get this moment where the karma just leaves Kawaki's body and Kawaki looks like he's unconscious. And again, gotta give him credit. I like how Ikimoto played with the actual panels on this. As far as the way they actually were slanted, the only thing I would definitely say is I really feel like that moment where you had Kawaki and the karma was breaking apart, I feel like that would have been a really good spot for a double spread, and then you just reorganize the actual panels from right to left where it has the panel at the very bottom. I felt like you could have pulled something like that. I really feel like that was a missed opportunity. There were a couple times in this manga chapter I felt like there were missed opportunity for page spreads, because when you get moments like this, you really want to make it dynamic, either by having Kawaki's body kind of break the fourth wall in how he's actually layered to where he's paneled, where Kawaki is existing above all the other panels. That way it adds more emphasis to the scene, or you do the double page spread. So I like how you see that right there, and I like how Amado says, take a very close look. Kawaki's karma's gone. So I thought that that was interesting, because now it looks like essentially Kawaki's been saved. Now we all know that when it gets to the time skip, Kawaki's gonna have the karma seal. So he isn't out the woods yet, but for a very short period in time, Kawaki's gonna not have the karma seal. So I like that moment right there. And I like how you get this moment where Kashin Koji says the flames, they just shrink immediately. He's like, this guy has tremendous power. He's finally making his appearance. Isshiki Otsutsuki. And so you see Isshiki in his full glory. And what I like about this moment right here is that everything we saw with Isshiki inside of Jigen's body, we hadn't even seen his true power yet. And you get a small fraction of his power just on how he's able to suppress all of those flames within an instant. So I thought that that was interesting. Now, as all this is going on, you have Amado, and he explains that this is how we're able to kill an Otsutsuki, because once an Otsutsuki reincarnates into a body that's completed extraction, all the other karma seals are erased, and this is the way for the karma seal to basically be prevented from creating multiple copies of several personalities. So I like how this is taking what we knew and it's adding on to the lore. So I like that you get this moment right here. So I like that. And what I also found interesting is how you get this moment where you see a Byakugan in one eye, and then you see a different eye in Isshiki's eye. And I think that obviously what you're going to see here is this eye is going to be used for him. Anything he's able to see, he's able to actually shrink it. So I think it's going to be a more advanced ability than what Jigen was able to do in his body. So that's going to be interesting. Or this could be the eye if we go by the mythology, which, you know, one of you guys told me on Twitter a while back, like, look, I think they're going to use the entire myth. I'm willing to own up to that. I think that this eye might have wish granting abilities as well. I'll talk about that in a future video this week, but I like that you get this moment right here. And I like how Kashin Koji says we finally meet at this point, and all of a sudden Isshiki's looking around and everything he's looking at is beginning to shrink. And so I thought that that was really good, just that slow build up. And what's so awesome about that is you see that the actual toad ends up being destroyed in the process, and you get this moment where Amado's like, well, that's all part of the calculations. And what's going to be very interesting about Naruto's reaction to this is the way that Amado's speaking about Kashin Koji. He says he served his function. He's referring to him as an object, not as a person out on a mission, because Naruto says, like, did you explain to him that this was a one-way ticket? That lets you know Naruto's mature to the point where he understands sacrifices have to be made, but Naruto's transparent. He wants to make sure that people know they're walking into their deathbed, and obviously that's because of the lesson he learned with Tsunade and Jiraiya. But the thing is that Amado says that was never part of the plan. We wouldn't be jumping through hoops like this if we believed that Isshiki could be defeated. And Boruto senses the change in his father. He senses how this is weighing down on Naruto. And again, the way Sasuke is drawn, I really feel like Sasuke in the next chapter is going to say somehow that guy was Jiraiya the Toad Sage, and Naruto's going to flip out when that happens. happens. And what's so crazy about that is how Amado's saying, what's your point? Why are you so bothered? And that kind of goes back to it. The Boruto story has been talking about how science is either viewed for good or for bad. In this case, Naruto's getting Jiraiya back, but he's getting him as a clone, and now he has to watch him be killed all the same. And Amado doesn't even view Kashin Koji as a person. He views him as a tool. That's gonna set Naruto off. That's gonna be very interesting to see the response to it. And I like how Isshiki knows exactly who he is, and paying further homage to the whole Tobi angle is now, and it really makes a lot of sense that they went this route, because you see the mask slowly getting to the point where it's breaking apart in some instances. And what I like is how when it falls off, it almost mirrors what you got with the Tobi reveal. I want to say that's around chapter 600. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure it's chapter 599 or chapter 600, because when that Tobi chapter came out, it crashed the internet. Like every website that hosted the manga, from Naruto Base to Manga Panda, all those sites were crashing because there was so much traffic going to it. So I like how you get this right here. And what I like about this is that you get this moment where Isshiki says, you're Kashin Koji, you're just a clone of Jiraiya of the legendary Sani. And I get what Amado was trying to do. That person right there, his fate, he had a predestined fate. That man was born a very mighty fate. He had the star of change, and Amado was clinging to that hope that that man's mighty fate was to change the outcome of what's going to happen. And you have Kashin Koji, where all of a sudden Kashin Koji, you know, I don't know if maybe he started to remember Jiraiya, and that's why you don't actually see his face, or whether or not that was that moment where they're essentially saying we're going to slowly build up to it. But basically Jigen saying, I truly understand. Amado thought that by having somebody like Jiraiya who's able to swing things because of Jiraiya's death, the impact that it had on Naruto, that maybe I'll get defeated, much in the same way that the Akatsuki and ultimately Kage were foiled because Jiraiya passed on. Well, I hate to break it to you, but because of those genes, you have a predestined fate. You're going to die here. So I thought that was interesting. So obviously my chapter question to you guys is, how do you feel about Kashin Koji being a clone of Jiraiya? Now, do you think that this ruins his legacy? And my question, my sub question to this is, how do you feel Naruto's going to react when Naruto learns the truth? What do you think Naruto's reaction is going to be? Could he go as far as pulling the immunity that he offered to Amado? Let me know what you guys think about that. Now, I'm going to give you my answer. I said it in my video. Kashin Koji is Jiraiya's cyborg clone. I'm okay with it because it's not the Jiraiya that we spent years reading in the manga, or if you watch the anime, it's not the Jiraiya that you watched in the anime for, if I'm not mistaken, probably 5 to 7 years in the anime. So I'm okay with it because it's not the same character. But I want to know how you guys feel about that. On one final thing before we get out of here, I just wanted to say, you know, for those of you guys who have reached out to me via social media, I really appreciate it, because like I've talked about before on social media and in the comment section, I took some losses. I'm in a really bad space mentally right now. Like, you know, these chapters and creating content is really one of the only things that's keeping me sane right now. It's really one of the only things that's keeping me sane and keeping me from drinking. I'm just gonna keep it honest with you guys. I'll probably make a separate video just talking to you, but you know, I just thank you for those you guys who have reached out to me out of concern. You know, like I said at the top of the video, you know, I'm dedicating this chapter review to my dog Prince that passed away. Ironically, when I did the chapter review, I ended up having to put, I got the phone call, I had to put Prince down the very next day. So what I really wanted to do is I just wanted to do 1 second of tribute for each year that, you know, he had been cancer free. He ended up passing away because his kidneys failed. So there was no pain or nothing like that, but that was just, I want to do 1 second for every year that he survived cancer and the cancer had been in remission. So I went through some major losses last month. You know, that wasn't the only thing that happened. I've lost a lot of people this year. And I have not been in the best space. So I just thank you guys for the support. And this chapter review is dedicated to all those people, just out of privacy for my aunt and my friend Jennifer and another one of my relatives. I can't put their pictures in that tribute that you saw in the opening because it's for their privacy. It's for their privacy. So that's really it. You know, obviously I own the rights to my dog's picture, so I can do that. So, you know, just want to throw that in there. And again, thank you for the support. It means the world. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.